mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
So listen guys, there right now is a car payment pandemic. There's so many people paying ridiculous amount of money for cars. Listen, I went on TikTok and I found a whole bunch of videos with the amount of money people are paying for a car is unbelievable. And the way they're justifying the reason why they have these cars, you guys gotta watch these videos.
I want to know what y'all's car payments are every month, because I refuse to believe that I am the only person with a high car payment, and I refuse to believe that my husband is the only man with a high truck payment. I don't know if y'all see it, but I literally see vehicles posted for sale now for like $100,000 to almost $200,000.
Okay, you see, this is what I mean by people just speaking reckless. $100,000 to $200,000 for a vehicle? No. There is vehicles that cost that much, but that's not the average. Obviously, it depends what kind of vehicle you want. So yes, you're paying a high car payment because you are looking for vehicles that are just probably way out of your league. There's cars out there, guys, between $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000. You get some hoopties. There's cars out there. So that's the justification people are making for these ridiculous cars, is this refusing to recognize there is cars out there that are cheaper. But no, you want a fancy car with all these special gadgets? So to you, there's nothing lower than $100,000.
And there is absolutely no way that people are purchasing these vehicles without paying a high car payment. So y'all are mad at me, and I know that I am not the only person with these high ass car payments.
No, you're right. You are not the only person with those high-ass car payments, but there's a category for a lot of people who pay a ridiculous amount of money, and it seems like she's one of them. Y'all stupid. Listen, guys, you're stupid. Okay, you cannot just pay a ridiculous high car payment. And listen, if you have a vehicle and you could afford it and you're paying a quote-unquote high car payment, then it's not really high. If you make so much money, your income is so high, those car payments are nothing to you. It's the people that are going so close to the amount of money they bring in every month. Like 50% of their income is going to cars, or even more. So yeah, you might not be the only one. She is right. There's a car pandemic out there. People are paying ridiculously amount of money on car payments. But I am not hearing so many people getting $100,000 to $200,000 cars. Okay, no. That seems to be just her being extremely bougie and not settling for anything less.
I'm not. And other people just might not be telling you what their car payments are, but there are a lot of people with these high car payments for absolutely no reason. Vehicles now are not the same cost as vehicles used to be. I can look online and find a hoopty, and it's going to be like $15,000.
Okay, there you have it. Not all cars are $100,000 to $200,000. She's full of crap. She's just like, oh man, she's just full of crap. It's $15,000 hoopties out there. If that's what you could afford, that's what you get. Okay, and listen, say if she's saying $15,000 hoopty. Okay, let's say double that, $30,000. They have newer cars, Nissan Sentras, right? Nissan Sentra's not that expensive. Maybe you get yourself a Camry, it's like 50, right? Or 40. She's acting like it doesn't exist. Like, she's really acting like the car value has exploded to a point where no one can afford a car. Yes, you can afford these cars, but if you want to just go above and beyond, be luxurious, I can't with this girl.
Y'all, I cannot be getting behind these $700 car payments. Every time I work on budgets and I see any car payment, even above like $600, I want to like choke on my own vomit.
Okay, let's not do that choking our own vomit stuff. That sounds nasty. But she's right. Every time I see someone, especially on TikTok, with these ridiculously high car payments, I'm just like, man, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? My car's paid off. To anyone out there got a paid off car, I salute you. But I am so happy that my car's paid off. But when I had my vehicle, it was a 2015 Nissan Sentra. I paid like 12 grand for it. That's it. My car payment was like, I think like $200 a month. That's it. Paid it off, got the way, I'm done. I cannot fathom paying a $700 car payment. Really? And that's one vehicle. Most homes have two. On one vehicle, $700.
And before you say, just the average car is like $35,000, I don't care. You don't need a $35,000 car. You want a $35,000 car. The most expensive car I ever bought was a 2015 Mazda 3. I bought it in 2016 for $14,000, like walking out the door, and my car payment was $315.15. And I thought that was a lot, and it really isn't. Nowadays, with my income and everything, I would say, like, I don't think I'd be comfortable paying more than $450. $500 is pushing it. And some of you are willing to have $700 plus car payments. Not only that, I've seen people with car payments.
That's funny. I always talk about that. Car payments. I always gotta fix myself, especially when I do these videos. But she's right. There she goes. I like her. I mean, she is speaking the truth. You can get a car for $35,000. Stop saying you can't. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just choose not to. It's a choice. And by all means, if you want to spend so much money on a car, that is your choice. A car dealership will love to write that loan out for you. They have no problem as long as you can afford it. In most cases, people can't, but they find a way to get you into that car. You got to just stop with these excuses of blaming stuff on the economy and the car prices are so high. It's you. It's you, chick. You need to get a car that you can afford. And most of these people are just making excuses, and they're just in love with the car.
Car payments, like, more than some people's mortgages. I've seen people come with car payments like $1,400. For $1,400, I better be able to live in that thing.
Yo, that was funny, but she was right. Paying $1,400 for car payments, and she is not lying. There's so many people I see online that they pay that much money for a car. That my mortgage right now is $2,000. That's $600 away from my mortgage. I cannot imagine paying for a car that's almost the same price of my mortgage. That is extremely insane. And the sad thing about it is people know beforehand when they sign in the dotted line, this is the situation. Once they sign it, a few months later, once that whole new car feeling goes away, they recognize, shit, I gotta pay for this 7 years. This car's gonna own me. And when things start breaking down, things are not safe to drive, what do? You want to trade it in with all that negative equity added to another loan, and it's just gonna keep on going.
I also feel like cars are just like the biggest tricks ever, because it's like I've just never looked at someone's vehicle, even if it's like the oldest thing in the world, and been like, ew, like look what they, I don't care. I feel like most people do not care.
Most people, truthfully, do not care what you drive. They don't. I walk around, I see people with that ridiculous ass Cybertruck, and I'm like, okay, I've never seen it in the road before, my first time seeing it. Hey, look, I see one. That's it. I don't really care about the fact you have a Cybertruck. First of all, it's ugly and it's hideous. And so it's like a $100,000 truck that you're driving around that just looks so ugly. But by all means, if that's your money, you got it, that's great. But no one really cares about the car that you drive. Why? Because they're not driving it. They don't. And even if that's the case, okay, let's say people look at your car and they're like, your car is good, whatever. They don't care about you, the driver. They don't give a damn about you, the driver. They imagine themselves driving that car. So you're there thinking, because basically what you're doing is you're renting or you're buying the luxury brand to become your brand. Thinking like, hey, I drive a Mercedes. Mercedes is a luxurious car, so I'm gonna buy a Mercedes because that way people think that I'm luxurious and I got all this money. No one cares at all, especially during these times when everyone's complaining about how car payments are so high and people are driving ridiculous cars. They look at you like you're an idiot. I know I do. I look at you, I'm like, you're an idiot, man. You could have done a whole lot more with that car. You get from point A to point B the same way I am. There is no difference. No difference whatsoever. But you, on the other hand, are choosing to put yourself in this massive amount of car debt to impress me, which I don't care.
Americans seem to love their cars more than anything. This can partially explain the nearly 70% rise in used car prices since the pandemic.
Oh, it's a good old Caleb Hammer. He's good at getting everybody just amped up and just showing all his emotions, but he is right. There's a crazy thing where people were wanting all these vehicles, and it pushed the vehicle prices of used cars so high. But that's also letting you know as well, there's nothing wrong with used cars.
This brings us to where we are today, with the average car payment hitting $516 a month for a used car, and then $725 a month on a new car. The average terms for these loans are 5.6 years for the used cars and 5.7 years for the new ones.
Yeah, and that's the thing that sucks about the whole situation, is now you're stuck in these car payments for years. A depreciating asset for years, man. And there's always a newer car out there, a newer model that looks so great that you want to jump on, you want to get it because you just want to look cool in the car. But still, 5 to 6 years stuck with a ridiculous car. People, this is getting maddening.
That is way too long to have a loan on a depreciating asset. On top of that, the average used car is about $26,420, and the average new car is going for $41,000.
You know, I never really bought a new car. I didn't understand. I just don't understand why someone buy a new car. When you buy that car within a year, it's dropping like at least 20% value. And there's not so much damage someone could put within a car within 2 or 3 years, where someone else can just buy it and just, have to deal with repairs. These cars nowadays, man, they build them to last. Okay, they build these cars to last. A lot of them have warranties that are really long. They just run so efficient. So I'd rather get the car when someone, spends all the money while it's depreciating. And I get it, when the depreciation's slowing down quite a bit, I get to use the car the same way someone else did. It's great. It runs smooth. That's just me. What do you guys think?
A lot of you guys are asking why my car payment is $1,000 a month, and here's why. So I told you guys I got my first car when I was a senior. It was the car of that year. I had a backup camera, I had a push start, everything, right? 9 months later, I crashed it and I totaled it. And
You see, that's why you don't buy these kids these nice ass cars. Why is a senior spending all this money on a car because a backup camera, all this stuff? Man, these kids nowadays are way spoiled. I had a 1992 Toyota Corolla, and that was in the year 1999 or 2000, so it's quite old. That was a hoopty, y'all. That thing got me around for years. It was a Corolla, Corollas last forever. That got me around for years. Then, after me, once I gave it back to my parents, they took it, gave it to my other brother. Gave it to my other brother. I had my 2 other brothers. They used it. They learned how to drive. We drive safe. Why the hell would you need a backup camera and all these cameras on a car for a kid? A kid's gonna wreck it. I hear this so many times, how kids get into the first car and they get into accidents every single time. So why are you put in this situation where you gotta pay this ridiculous car payment as a senior in high school?
parents had already almost paid it off. So then they pulled me out another car, the same one, but I had to pay it. So I started paying it. I was giving payments and I was almost done. I had less than 10,000, right? I always kept up with the maintenance, everything. And I don't know why, but there was so many recalls on this car to the point where it almost left me on the freeway a couple times, okay? By this time, I already had my son. He was a baby at that time. And it got to the point where it wasn't even safe for us to be driving in that car. Not even on the freeway, not anywhere.
Okay, there goes the excuses that people make to try to get themselves into other cars. First of all, why is your parents making decisions for you? Well, let me take a step back. Why are you blaming your parents for the situation that you're in? Why are you allowing them to put you in these bad situations? Really? Like, why are you allowing them to get you into another car? Just say, I can't afford it, it's too expensive, I just can't do it. Sorry, mom and dad, I don't want to put this burden on you. I already wrecked the first car. I don't want to have to wreck the second car. I already feel bad as it is. But no, you allowed them to. So don't blame them. You allowed them to get you into another car that you couldn't afford. And listen, a recall is free. Take your car to the dealership, they'll fix the parts, you go back on the road, you're safe. Why are you saying they have so many recalls and what, you're just not addressing these issues? You're not getting it fixed? So now you're like, oh, it's gonna break down in the middle of the freeway, highway, so I need to get me another car. That's probably what's gonna happen. She's probably gonna end up getting 3 cars.
So my mom was like, it was time to upgrade. So I was
There
like,
goes
all
the
right, bet.
mom.
So then I went in, and at that time, it was 2021. I got a 2021 Acura ILX, super nice, brand new, nice interior, everything, right?
There it goes. So the mom now said it's time for an upgrade. She's young. So she's saying from 19, she has to be like in her 20s. But then 4 years, she has never owned a vehicle, and now it's time to upgrade? Why? Why you need to upgrade? Listen, guys, I had my Nissan Sentra 2015. I had that with 2 of my kids and my wife. To this day, people used to always tell me, why you don't get an SUV? Why don't you get an SUV? And I used to tell them, because this car's paid off and I'm not gonna get a car if I don't need it. I went on road trips, I went to the beach, I went to so many places with that car. It got me everywhere. I drove from Florida to Nashville to Atlanta. I drove everywhere with that car. I do not say to myself, it's time for upgrade within a few years. What?
Never really gave me problems. And I got married. We have 3 kids now. Fast forward to now. And we just didn't fit in that little car anymore. We needed a SUV, like a mom car. So I traded in this car, my car for this car. And I'm actually carrying $10,000 of negative equity from my very first car. But I had no choice. Like at that point, it was not safe to drive that car. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have to swallow it and take the L. So that's why my car payment is so high, but it's totally worth it for me because yes, I have my mom car and we have our room. And look at this car seat. Look at how big it is.
Wow. This is like her 4th car, it seems like, right? She just rolled it in again, negative equity on top of negative equity. The other car didn't work, so I gotta get a new one. I had to. Oh, I have to. I have no choice. I have to. Because if I don't do it, oh my Lord, I won't be able to survive. I just will not be able to survive if I don't upgrade my car because I got a family. How are we going to fit in this thing? I mean, cry me a river. So as you see, guys, this car payment pandemic is, it's people are choosing to do this themselves. They're blaming the price of vehicles. They're blaming all these things, but there's cheap cars out there as well to get you at least to have a comfortable life, get you from point A to point B. You could build some money later on, then turn around, buy yourself a better car, but be patient. That's the problem. As you see in her video and other videos, people are just not patient and they're not being realistic. That young ass girl rolled already into 4 or 5 cars. She says she has negative $10,000 of equity she rolled in, but in the end, she had to do what she had to do. She's happy with it. Then why are you making a video complaining about you paying $1,000? It just seems like she's just contradicting herself in these videos, and that's what people are doing all the time. They're trying to justify these ridiculous car payments, but guys, this is going to destroy your wealth. You're not going to be able to build wealth when you start putting all your money into a negative asset. You have to, at least once in your life, pay for a car completely. That way you could trade it in, and guess what? There's not negative equity, there's positive equity. Or you can just keep the car like I plan on doing and just use it till wheels fall off and save all that payment I was making for the other car. Now take that and buy myself a car. That is the way for you to continually get vehicles that you could afford and putting a hefty down payment or buying out straight cash. But if you keep on rolling it over, guys, it's just gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. Your payment is not gonna go down, it's just gonna increase. And yes, I know you're thinking, well, you know, at least I have this new car and I look good in this new car. You're gonna be broke, man. And one thing about being broke is you never look good.